The time is almost here. A world where only true pirates can survive will soon be upon us. Those without power, flee while you can. Hello and welcome to One Piece 101, the series that breaks down everyone and everything in the One Piece world. Today we're taking a look at the incredibly twisted and a personal favourite villain of mine, Don Quixote Doflamingo. For much of the life of One Piece, Doflamingo was an enigma. He appeared very, very early on in the series in the grand scheme of things, being introduced as one of the 7 warlords of the sea with by far the highest bounty we'd seen in the series at the time, sitting at 340 million berries. To put that into perspective, the previous villain Luffy had just defeated was only worth 81 million berries. His trademark style, confident personality, and unidentified power made him a mysterious and terrifying figure. And this mystery really worked to the character's advantage, enhancing every brief appearance he made, which were few and far between. The only thing we knew for sure is that this guy was absolutely not on our side. And it wouldn't be until the Straw Hats were well and truly into the New World when we would finally discover the story behind this man. As it turns out, Doflamingo is a celestial dragon, the world's highest form of nobility, that live on the holy land of Marijois. Like most other celestial dragons, he regards most human life as insignificant and only fit for slavery. Humanity are toys to be used as he wishes. He fits the role absolutely perfectly. Unfortunately, his father, Don Quixote Homing, didn't. Homing was a decent man who renounced his status as a world noble and took his family to live a normal life among the common world. Unfortunately, this decision led to nothing but tragedy, as the horrible living conditions caused the death of Doflamingo's mother, and the subsequent discovery of the family's noble heritage resulted in Homing, Doflamingo, and his brother Rocinante being brutally tortured in retribution for who they were. Blaming his father for, well, everything, Doflamingo proceeded to kill him in an attempt to regain his status as a celestial dragon. However, this request was denied, condemning Doflamingo to a life in the common world. With no path to his home remaining, Doflamingo turned to piracy and formed the Don Quixote Pirates, a very fascinating group of unique individuals who I hope to go into a bit more depth about in the future. And at this point I should note that Homing would not be the last family member killed by Doflamingo. His brother Rocinante would go on to lead a double life as a marine, secretly working to stop the madness of his brother, while posing as a member of his future pirate crew. Upon the discovery of his betrayal, Doflamingo killed his brother with the very same gun that he used to kill his father. This action would set his eventual defeat into motion via a young Trafalgar Law, but we'll get to that later. As time went on, Doflamingo's hate for commoners was eventually overcome in the case of his close crew members. He grew to consider his top officers as family members, and he is a rare example of a villain who shows genuine concern and care for his immediate underlings. Together, the Don Quixote Pirates would take the world by storm. While they certainly didn't have the impact that, say, Goldie Roger, Whitebeard, or any of the 4 emperors had, the Don Quixote Pirates made themselves a permanent fixture of the New World, with Doflamingo himself becoming incredibly powerful, both physically and in terms of influence. In regards to raw ability, Doflamingo is a devil fruit user who ate the Ito Ito no Mi, or the string fruit. This ridiculous fruit is a paramecia type that gives the user the ability to generate and control razor-sharp strings. And if you're thinking, meh, that isn't all that good, then you're not thinking anywhere near as creatively as Doflamingo does. This man can use strings for just about anything. Of course, he can do the obvious and cut anything with his strings, but he can also use them to turn people into puppets, as well as attach strings to clouds in the air, allowing him to glide through the world in a very Spider-Man-like manner. And these are the reasonable powers. Getting into the realm of unreasonable power uses, he can use his strings to create an indestructible bird cage to trap and hunt his enemies. He can also repair damage inflicted on his internal organs by using the strings to stitch himself up. In fact, he can take this repair ability a much bigger step further and create an entire string clone of himself. And to top it all off, Doflamingo is an awakened devil fruit user, essentially meaning that he can take his powers far beyond that of a normal paramecia and turn just about anything in his surroundings into string. He's a formidable guy, and with his numerous abilities he was able to attain a position amongst the 7 warlords of the sea and usurp the king of Dressrosa overnight by forcing him to slaughter his own people before stepping in and defeating him for the quote-unquote good of the people. Doflamingo would remain the king of Dressrosa for 10 years, making this the base of his numerous operations. While he certainly made a name for himself as a pirate, it would be his underground activities that would truly shake the world. Under the alias of Joker, Doflamingo sold slaves and weapons throughout the One Piece world. One of these slave auction houses was located on Sabadi Archipelago, offering slaves of every race including fishmen and giants for the right price. As an arms dealer, he propagated war throughout the world and even supplied one of the 4 emperors Kaido with possibly hundreds of artificial devil fruits for his crew. Now these artificial devil fruits are a whole different story, but boiling it down to basics, Doflamingo mass-produced them on Dressrosa, which was one of the main reasons why the Straw Hats and Trafalgar Law launched their attack on the island. Now the events of Dressrosa itself are complicated and convoluted, and they took over 2 years of real time to complete, so I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible. Trafalgar Law held a grudge against Doflamingo for killing his brother Rocinante, who happened to be a very important man in Law's life, and you can find out more about this story in the Law 101. Law formed an alliance with the Straw Hat Pirates under the guise of aiming to beat Kaido, starting with Doflamingo. After a crazy series of events, the inhabitants of Dressrosa rose up against their king, the Don Quixote Pirates were defeated, and Luffy and Law took on Doflamingo himself. And this is where we should expand on his strength a bit more. This guy is a beast. Even after suffering body-destroying attacks from Law and tanking Luffy's hits in his Gear 4th form, Doflamingo is still standing. His endurance is unlike any other villain we've seen to this point, and his defeat was entirely a team effort from everybody present in the country. The fall of Doflamingo, in particular the collapse of his underground businesses, sent shockwaves around the world. Although the former world noble seemed to take his defeat rather well, clad in his trademark smile and laughing all the way to Impel Down. It seems that only he is truly aware of the exact ramifications of his defeat, claiming that without anybody to feed the monsters of the world, a war for the title of Pirate King would soon begin. And that's the last we've seen of this laughing demon for now. His story has well and truly been told, so I'm unsure of how much we'll see him in the future, but I am sure that he will be anxiously observing the events of the world from his cell in Impel Down. Some more fun facts about Doflamingo. Like many modern-day powerful figures, a young Doflamingo was present at the execution of Pirate King Gol D. Roger. In addition to Trafalgar Law, Doflamingo has a further connection to one of the worst generation, ex-Drake. Doflamingo killed his father, a pirate named Diaz Barrels. Despite this, Drake holds no grudge against Doflamingo. In fact, he may even see it as a fortunate event. Doflamingo has shown that he can use both Conqueror's Haki and Armament Haki, but it's never reliably shown that he possesses Observation Haki. Given his strength, it's highly likely, but there is no conclusive evidence to show that this is the case. Doflamingo is the only canon-awakened Paramecia user mentioned in the series so far. Up until his revelation, the only known awakened Devil Fruit users were Zoan types. Doflamingo's Devil Fruit, the Ito Ito no Mi, currently holds the record for longest time between its first demonstration in the series and its explanation, sitting at 490 chapters, or 11 years of real-life time. And continuing with the record setting, Doflamingo is also the longest-serving direct antagonist in the series, with the Punk Hazard and Dressrosa arcs lasting a combined total of 148 chapters, taking 3 years to complete. And finally, a truly useless fact. Doflamingo's left eye has never been seen, while his right eye has only been shown once in an extreme close-up. Otherwise, he wears sunglasses throughout the entire series, even when he gets taken to prison. And that'll do it for the ever-intriguing Doflamingo. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, favorite, or subscribe, and please do comment with who, what, or where you'd like to see featured in the next One Piece 101.